Welcome back to Burning River Bushcraft. So this is pretty cool. I've got the Goture Capella 12-foot Tenkara rod here. Now you can get just the rod, but this is their starter kit as well. So this is something you can open right out of the box, right in the mail, and take it out on the water and go fishing instantly. Now, Goture is an extremely affordable brand of Tenkara rods. They've got a lot of other fishing gear as well, but if you're on a really tight budget, or if you're not quite sure this is your sport, this is a heck of a way to go. This also would work if you've got a Tenkara rod that you're really fond of and you want to take someone else out and want to introduce them to the sport. This makes a great backup rod. Now, because this rod is so affordable, I've actually got two of them right here. So I've got their 12-foot rod and their 13-foot rod. So this is kind of cool to do because when I introduce a Tenkara rod to you, I'm usually doing one rod and one rod only. There are options with these rods. When you choose a different size rod, a different length rod, it is a vastly different rod for different purposes. So today we'll be able to compare these two and see which one would probably work best for your situation. Starting with the 12-footer first, this is about a 3-inch diameter tube and it's about 16 inches long. So if you are more interested in a pack rod, this is going to fit completely inside most day packs. This would tuck down inside your luggage and really not take up a lot of space. And remember, I've got an entire kit in here. This is not just the rod. I'm going to pull the components out later and show you the kit, but I got to take some of them out just to get the rod out here. So I'll try to keep everything in there until later. So here's the 12-footer. And I've got a sleeve in here as well. So here's the rod, and this is under 15 inches, so it's about 14 3/4. And there's the mini Tenkara label, and this is pretty darn compact. Now I'm loving the cork grip on this. This has a little bit of contour, so if you're not looking, you can feel when you're towards the nose of the grip, and you can feel when you're towards the tail as well. So down here on the butt cap, it's logoed, if I can get the glare down. And this is aluminum. And it's a beefy rod. This has quite a bit of backbone. This is something that if I get some of the more slender, more sensitive rods, I'm less likely to carry it without a case. With a thicker rod like this, this is more of a backpack rod. This is something that I absolutely would carry this without a case. This is a little more durable size, so if I set the pack down and something actually sits on it, or if I snag this walking into the woods, I'm less likely to actually break it. So here's our cap, and that feels like the same type of aluminum as our butt cap here. So with the plug off, here's our Lillian. So this is what we're going to tie the line on. So again, this is Tenkara, so I've got no reel, I've got no eyes. We're just going to be attaching a line to this, and this is going to telescope out. Now this is actually a rotating Lillian, so that's kind of a neat feature actually. So let's just go ahead and expand this thing out. This is IM8 plus 10 carbon fiber, and it's a pretty thick rod in the middle. So if you look here, I've got probably the first 2/3 of this rod, and I've got very minimal flex to it. So that's going to tell me if I get into a bigger fish than I probably should have with this rod, I'm going to have enough backbone to at least steer it away from debris and away from deadfalls and rocks, and be able to handle a larger fish. So when I go down to the end here, here's the tip, and look at the flex on this thing. Just the slightest bit of flex, slightest bit of weight will flex this rod. So I'm loving that green paint on the rod, and then when our sections slide together, I've got like black accents to it. So gorgeous looking rod. I love the thicker body for durability for backpacking. And if I was more interested in just fishing for food on a trip, I really like having a little more spine on a rod. I don't want to have to pass on sight casting to a fish just because it's bigger than I think the rod can handle. With a solid rod like this, I will hook into a larger fish and just take my chances to see if the tip it's going to hold. So speaking of getting into fish that's larger than intended, I've actually got an extra tip section in this sleeve. So I've got the main body that I slid the rod out of, and I didn't feel this when I opened it the first time. So I have the last two tip sections with my Lillian already on there in case I have a break in the field. Now this is freaking awesome. I love having an extra tip section on a rod. That just shows you that they're designing these rods to be in the field and in use. And I'm sure I could get tip sections if I was to break one. It's not like you completely have to get a new rod. You can take these all apart from the backside and you can replace broken sections. But having the most susceptible part to break, the very tip of your Tenkara, with you in the field could absolutely save a trip. The 13-foot Capella is definitely a completely different rod. This is in the same 3-inch diameter hard-sided case, and this one is about 24 inches long. Now, with this, I don't have the accessory kit, but the accessories that I'm going to show you here in a minute are going to be interchangeable between either of these rods. So here's our sleeve. And here is our much larger collapsed Tenkara rod. Before I put the case down, I've got an extra 2 tip sections in this sleeve, just like the 12-foot model. Now this rod is significantly longer here. This is 22 inches as opposed to under 15. And the handle is pretty darn big as well. So this is 12 inches. So you can definitely two-hand hold this if you've got a monster fish on. It's really amazing to see the two rods side by side. So here's that 13-footer, and then for comparison, here's our 12-footer. And now this 22-inch rod, 24 with the case, you're getting to the point now that this would still fit in carry-on luggage. This is going to have a little harder time fitting in a day pack. This is about the size that you're going to have to start strapping this on the outside of a backpack, more designed for backpacking, so an internal or external frame. So you can see the difference here between these two rods and their intended purpose. This is going to fit into a day pack. You could slip this in your pocket. I think this would probably fit in the console of your truck. And this is going to be perfectly at home at smaller creeks and smaller rivers. When you're fishing bigger water or you're fishing for larger fish, the two-handed grip and the extended length of the 13-foot model is really going to help you out. So I do like the familiarity between the two. I've got that same slight flare forward and back on the cork grip. I've got the exact same aluminum butt cap, and this is going to unscrew if you had to clean or maintain the sections of your rod. And then here's my plug. Now with any Tenkara rod, you're always going to want to start on the smallest section. So you're going to open this from smallest section to largest and close it the opposite way. Close it from largest to smallest. So here's our Lillian. And this is a 360 rotating Lillian, just like the other model. And just the slightest bit of pressure. Flex that tip. So let's go ahead and extend this out. So the difference is here, this is a 10-section rod, but the materials are identical. So this is the same type of cork, same high quality cork, same carbon fiber material. I've got the same paint with the same black accents. This rod's longer than its 12-foot brother, so it is a little more flexible, but I've still got a really solid backbone. I've got my hands over about the first third of the rod, and you can see how solid that is. I also got a starter kit that's going to work with either of those two rods, whichever one you choose. And in there, I got a pretty thorough instruction booklet. And then I've got some high-vis Tenkara line. So this is a furled line, which is braided. I am a big fan of the furled Tenkara line. So this is braided nylon. And with that nice high-vis color, it's going to be easy to keep track of. And it's going to cast really well for you. Tenkara line has a little bit of weight with it, and that's what actually lets you cast this out. But you can't really tie a fly here. You're going to need a smaller diameter cordage to attach your hook to. So I've got a spool of tippet as well. I've got 5X tippet. To store that Tenkara line, I've got a foam spool. Now, if you haven't seen these yet, these slide right over the end of your Tenkara when it's collapsed. You can leave it on there when it's extended, and this keeps your line coiled up and ready to go whenever you're ready to fish. Now I got a fly box as well, and this is kind of a unique size. I don't have any fly boxes this size. And I've got 8 Kabari style flies. If you're not familiar with a Kabari fly, this is most notably known for its forward-facing hackles like this. And this is the fly that's traditionally used with Tenkara in Japan. Now, one of the reasons I really like Kabara flies, and I use them most of the time, is just because this isn't designed to imitate one specific bug. This is designed just to look buggy. So these forward-facing hackles can be fished a few different ways. They kind of dance like wings. They'll move around like legs. So I don't have to know that much about entomology. I don't have to know what life cycle the bug is in, like with traditional Western fly fishing. With this, I just throw it out there, and it looks like something that the fish should be eating. If you don't like those foam spools, I've also got a set of line winders here as well. So these little clips are going to go onto a rod, and they're held in place with these rubber O-rings. I've got a video on the channel already showing you how to install these. I've got some more accessories in that box. I've also got a set of line nippers here. Now these are multifunctional line nippers. And even if you carry a knife, it's a lot safer to have a set of nippers out on the water. Now on this end here, this is an eye cleaner. So this is going to let me clean the eye of a hook. That does come in handy. And then this tool here actually helps you tie a nail knot. Now to keep you from losing this little thing, I've got a retractor here as well. So I can attach this to my belt or around my neck or on one of my Tenkara bags, and I can draw it out, use the tool, and I don't have to worry about dropping it in the water. So if this is the kind of thing you like, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment in the comment box, and ring the bell to be notified of my latest videos. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Burning River Bushcraft. I also teach outdoor classes at outdoorcore.com. So here's our 12-footer, and I've got the line winder attached on this one. So with this, you're pretty much ready to fish. As soon as you take the plug out, let me unwind this here, and I'll extend the rod out. I'll show you the flex on the 12-footer compared to the 13-footer. So here's the 13-footer. Let me pull the plug out. And we'll extend this one too, and then I'll show you the two together. Now these seem to be a little stiffer rods than some of the other Tenkaras I've been testing here. So you can see the length distance here, and that 1 foot is pretty darn significant. Let me cast out this 12, and I'll see if I can get a fish. So I did have a strike there. I was too busy swatting mosquitoes to pull it in. So I'm going to switch to a hopper dropper rig here with a different line on this 13-footer. And I'm going to try a couple casts. And I think that's it. I think the bugs are going to kill me if I stay out any longer. If I fail on this attempt, you'll just have to check out some of the shorts. I will get these rods in action, preferably when the bugs aren't so bad. And I'll be sure to put up short videos of that. So hopefully it's not needed. Hopefully I got a couple casts and a couple fish going on. But if not, at least we got a plan. So here's the 13-foot rod. Yeah, that 13-foot cast a lot better. But if you were in really tight quarters, this might be a little bit too big. But for here, this is definitely the better choice. All right, I'm gonna need a blood transfusion here. So we're gonna have to cut back, and I'll try to catch a fish on these rods in a short series. But for right now, I'm telling you, this 13-footer casts a lot better if you've got space. Unless you're fishing really tight waters, the 13-footer might be the way to go. So if you're fishing smaller waters and you just cast into the drift sometimes anyway, then the 12-footer is going to be a lot more convenient to carry with you, that's for sure. Till next time, unless the bugs kill me, this is Jamie Boggs with Burning River Bushcraft. See you soon.